Hi, Natalie here from Creative Junket. We have a challenge over on the challenge group this month for creating a background. Now this could be stamping, it could be inking, it could be patchworking together a whole bunch of scraps, anything that you feel like doing to make your own piece of background paper. Now I have decided to use my Tim Holtz Distress inks as watercolours and create a watercolour background. I am just chiseling my page so that I can use a bit of water and a bit of ink and not worry about my paper warping or getting too wet. I've done a full coverage of that and I'm just going to dry it. Magically, here it is all dry, ready to go. Now I am just pushing my inks onto my craft mat here fairly firmly, so I get a good amount of ink there. I sprayed my paper and then I sprayed my inks. And now all I'm doing is grabbing the ink on my brush and swiping across the page in lines and then picking up a little bit more ink and doing some splatters. I sometimes will grab water from my little water pot next to me, and I will sometimes get my water bottle and just give the paper a bit more of a spray just to make sure it's still wet, because it does dry up a little bit. So you can see me just swiping across the page with my ink and then splattering, and that is pretty much all I am doing for my background. So this is a really easy background to do, and if you're not really familiar with mixed media, it's a good starting point because you don't get messy fingers, you're using a brush the whole time, and you really can't go wrong because all you're doing is wiping your brush against the page and then doing a few splatters. Now I did do splatters fairly close up and up high as well, so depending on where you're splattering from, you'll get big droplets or you'll get little droplets. So I wanted a mixture of both, and at times I also splattered so that, say for example, the pink ink at the top would splatter a little bit onto the orange, or maybe do a little bit of the blue onto the grey. You can see that I'm now drying off my first layer of ink, and this will allow me to then do a little bit more ink splattering, or maybe I feel like I need a little bit more colour in a certain spot, so I can add a little bit more ink to that area, and it kind of layers the ink on top of each other. So you get like a little bit of light ink and then you get like the darker kind of splotchy areas. And I really like this because it just really, it looks like watercolours to me when you've got that layers, because that's the whole beautiful thing about watercolour, is the layers and the depths that you can get from it. So I'm just going to dry off those bits. You can see sometimes I need to dab up just a little bit of the water where I put a bit much on, and I use a paper towel for that. It works really well. Dry it off, and that will pretty much be all I need to do for my background. And you know, the thing is, it might look a bit messy and shambolic, but once you add stuff on top, it looks really great. So there you have it. That's how to do an inky background.